This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code SOCRATES at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenro radio playlist. zenroclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Before we get into like the main topic of what's going on in New Jersey, we did check out Russell Peters yesterday. I was thinking about this just now, how like he is a relic from our past, right? You know what I mean? And then we are actually becoming so old that we're becoming like our parents. Like, because remember when he was asking people their ages, like, oh, 50, 40, he was like 60. I'm like, oh, that's our demographic now. There's like no young kids at this thing, unless they're the kids of the people that came. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's weird that we've fully made that switch where we are now old, you know, but you don't actually register the click in your mind. I guess it's like when, you know, like Bon Jovi and all those people played the Super Bowl, but now you have like Kendrick Lamar playing the Super Bowl. You're like, what? You know? Yeah. And it's like, it's weird to think that we are old, I guess, like in the in the old school contemporary sense, you know, like we really thought our parents were old, but now we're like sitting in their shoes. Not like exactly, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
true.
I guess I was like 3 when my parents were my age. So like, you know, it's still, there's still like a ways to go, but it is weird that one day we're going to be like super old. You know what I mean? But you never think about it because it like creeps up on you until we were watching like Russell Peters. I was like, wait a minute, we're old, bro.
Yeah.
You know, even he looks old. You're like, oh, okay, that's odd. But he's only like 50, what do you say, like 56 or something like that?
Yeah, 54, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just wild. And like the topics, the lingo, you're kind of like, oh yeah, that was like our generation. You know? Like even the R word, you know, when he dropped that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's true. Like that was our time, you know? But like now you can never say those things. It's weird because like even to like my younger cousins, I approach it as if they're my age too. So I'll like talk to them as if they're my age, but then they'll be like, oh, it's kind of weird, you know? But I'm like, oh, right, you don't know what I'm kind of, you know what I mean? Like I'm just like a different point of reference now, you know, because you grew up with like the iPads, you grew up with like inclusivity, all that stuff. So like you can't like, they just don't get it. It's weird, you know, like it was such a different mind frame when he was saying when we were kids and then like the racism was so high, but then they don't really understand the racism, you know, like Murray's like, oh, the Indian kids now, like, what do you mean? Like, Canadian accent? Yeah. You know, you're like, oh yeah, that's true. Cause you grew up with like other people like you, you know, but I don't know if you distinctly remember this, but I distinctly remember being the only one of my kind in my school.
Yeah.
You know, or like a very, very like small minority. You're like, oh, that's interesting. There's not that many of us. And then I felt like because you're in that kind of school, your frame of reference is like, oh, there's not that many Filipino people, or there's not that many Asian people. Yeah. And then like now you're like, actually, there's tons of us. It's just in Canada there was not that many at the time. Yeah. You know, it's really weird to think about when he's saying like Brampton was like very white before. It was just like Indians and Jamaicans, and then now it's all brown. You're just like, that's so true. And then when he said like Mississauga too. It's like all Filipino, like it is all Filipino, you know, that's where they all like congregate, which is weird. And you like, yeah, even like where we grew up too, you know what I mean? Like Port Union, like it was like super white in the day, back in the day. Right. But then now you're like, I was driving through and I was like, oh, there's so many minorities here. Well, I guess they're not minorities anymore.
Well, yeah, in a sense, there technically still are if you look at the percentages, but just because we're in the city and that's where most new people come, right? I think that the other thing that I liked when he said was like when he came back, it's now he understands the white plea because there's too many Indians.
dude, that's so true. When he was saying that when he was growing up, he's like, why were they being so racist? But then now it's like, oh, there's just tons of Indian people. You're like, oh, that's why you're being racist, because you saw the immigration was pushing us out, and which is really interesting because like in my like professional role, it's all about like increasing diversity, and I was confused because I'm like, it's hella diverse, bro. What are you talking about? But then when he was saying that one line about how it's like Toronto versus like the rest of Canada, like he was in Saskatoon or whatever, and like,
right,
I get it now, because like
I remember those things. I remember people not liking Toronto or things like that.
But I didn't think about it. It's like but like our frame of reference is different.
It's different. Yeah.
There's more they're not even really minorities, like global majorities. There's like more of the global majority in Toronto than there is in like other parts of the country. So like when I'm speaking to people about like inclusivity and like diversity, I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I went to like Scarborough town. I was like, I didn't see a single white person there the whole time. So I'm confused, but then it's like, oh, it's because Toronto is like a hub and we're so different from the rest of Canada. But you never think of it like that, Like I went to...
you went to Halifax, right?
Halifax, I was about to say, Halifax, yeah. And like I went to Alberta too, and it's like... But even there, it's not as... It's, what it is? It's in those like smaller communities. Like those cottage countries, like... You remember like how me and Tara would always drive to like Muskoka and stuff like that? That's where they are, bro. Like that is like... I feel really uncomfortable in... We went to a farmer's market. I don't know where it was. It was in like in the middle of nowhere, right? This farmer's market. We've been like a few times. And the first time I went, I was like, Tara's like, oh, I really like this place. It's like very scenic and like peaceful. And I was like, I feel uncomfortable. And then she's like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't see any other like colored people, which is great. It's like, ooh, this is kind of weird, And then we went back another time. And
I feel different. I feel different about that.
Okay, yeah, explain.
Maybe because we grew up around a lot of white people and stuff. It's like I know white people. Like I feel more safer because I know everyone.
No, for sure. No, it's not safety. It's like
comfortability.
You're kind of sticking out. It's like oh, you know what I mean? It's like that. It's not like a like it's like in a sea of white. It's like if we saw like at a like a Caribbean restaurant, you saw a Chinese dude, you'd be like, oh, okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're like, it's like that. It's like, oh, interesting. But not like, I don't feel like unsafe, but
I feel, like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't feel unsafe. Like, but if I go in like Markham area, there's a lot of Asian stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to see majority like Chinese or whatever eating at those restaurants because they're pretty like local. No, like Chinese places.
Okay, yeah.
I feel, when I go in and grab, I feel like I'm the only one that's different.
No, totally, exactly. But it's like, but we get it. It's about minorities. Like, you know what I mean? It's like an unspoken understanding that we've all experienced. Where you like you go in and you're like, okay, I'm in this like Chinese restaurant, and then you just like understand that it's cultural, whatever. But then you see like, I don't know, a white person. Like I went to P Mall during like I forgot what it was, but there was something which drew a lot of like Caucasian people to P Mall, and it was interesting to see them like, oh look, oh wow, look, oh, and you're like, interesting. Right. I think I talked about it on the podcast before, but it's like. It was Brother Soon when that came out on Netflix, and then people wanted to go check out P Mall. Right. And then it was like, this is weird because it's a different vibe. It's not like, oh, that's your culture. Like it's like, oh, I like Chinese food. I'm Indian. You're like, I get it. But it's more like it's like, look at these knickknacks that they got here. It's like that. You're like, oh, that's weird.
It's judgy. It feels judgy. From that side. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at this. I this guy was like trying to, I guess, bond or whatever. And I feel this from like that like group, Caucasians. I feel this from them. Like, so they were like, "Oh, you're Filipino? Oh, you got that balut, right?" And balut's like, but it's like the Filipino, like that. For people who don't know, it's like a fermented, not fermented. It's like a almost born chicken, right? And like, I was like, dog, you could have said like anything else, but you chose balut because it's the most ridiculous thing that you'd be like, oh, crazy little half chicken thing, and you're like, that's a little judgy, but it's like you were trying to connect, but the connect was a weird vibe. Whereas a Chinese person would never say bullet. They're, because we all agree it's kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't be like, hey, you're gonna bring your ethnic food, like you to me. You wouldn't be like, hey, you're gonna bring your ethnic food, bring some bullet, and then we little laugh about it. You wouldn't say that. You'd probably be like, bring some like spring rolls, something I'll eat. You know what I mean? It's a different vibe. It's like not kind of judgy, but it's like that's interesting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's a subtle. It's kind of racism. A subtle racism.
It's kind of racist, bro. Okay, dude. Okay, that's so funny. You say that. All right, so we were watching Southern Charm, and this is the epitome of exactly what I'm trying to say. Maybe I'll even cut this one up because me and Tara laughed about it so hard. So there was an episode, and she checked on Reddit to see if it was racist. Nobody said anything. So Southern Charm is basically it's one of my favorite reality TV shows. It's based in the South, and then it's about like rich people and not so rich people get along. So there's this one super rich lady, and she's like, come. She has like dinner parties. So she's like, come to my house for a dinner party. And like, oh, what's the theme? Indian themed. They're all white. They invited no Indian people. So they all show up in like saris, and they're like, look at this roti. This is interesting. Like, ooh, the flavors are interesting. Right. And you're just like, dog, that's kind of racist, bro. And they're all like, they were like, the only thing that would have made it more ridiculously racist if they put on like Indian accents. That's the one thing that
sure. Yeah.
People came in with like, and then they're like, how do I eat this? They're like this. They're like, how do I eat this? So you rip the bread and you dip it and you taste so many different flavors that you've never tried before. And you're like, that's kind of racist, bro. But they didn't see it as racist. They're all like, ha ha ha, yeah, whatever. We're trying to be cultural. And I'm like, that's like me.
No, you know what?
You know what I'm saying?
No. Yeah, that just reminds me of, I think it's like you see it in a lot of different shows. Like whenever they have those, black tux or some party or something where it's like a theme.
Yeah.
We don't have themes in parties, right? In general, because we have enough of a culture that our foods, you know what I mean? All these different flavors and everything. Their food is very bland. So it's the only way to, their culture would be like trying something different, which is having weird dinner parties with a theme to it. Like, why you need a theme?
Exactly. Why you need a theme. But you know what we do? We just go to that restaurant, we just buy the food, and we're like, oh, it's new. Tastes good. Like me and Sunshine, we saw like a African restaurant. We're like, let's try that. I've never had African food. Boom. But we're not going to like, yeah, man. Can I have, you're like, why would you do that, bro? That's crazy. There was this one time, this is the funniest story, but I don't know what it is. It's like a cultural lack. There's like a gap. I was going to say cultural incompetence, but I chose gap because it's like a nicer word. So a cultural gap, right? But we both know I meant incompetence. So it's like, or ignorance. So there was this one person who's like, I want to put a BLM post. They were white. And I was like, that's interesting. On their own personal social media, right? And I was like, that's interesting. And they're like, yeah, but I really want to get like a black person's input on this because I don't want to overstep. You think it's weird? They actually asked me, do you think it's weird if I ask a black person what they think about my BLM post? I'm like, okay, can I be real? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, if you think it's weird, probably weird. Just don't be weird. That's it. That's the difference between us and like them. Not trying to other them, but it's like there's something there that they're like, they just don't get. Or it's like, that's a little weird.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would never do that. I'd be like, yo, bro. I'm like Jared. I wouldn't be like, yo, Jared, I'm trying to support you, bro. I'm going to put this post up. What do you think? He'd be like, what the hell's wrong with you? I'm like, yeah, you're right. I would say, yeah, you're right. But they'd be like, what do you mean? I'm just trying to support. I want to be an ally. It's like, dog, I don't need an ally. That's another thing when they're like allyship. Wow, I didn't think this was going to go in this direction, but it's Russell Peters who egged us on. It's like allyship, bro. You know, and they're like, I want to be a good ally. You're like, I don't need an ally, bro. Like, I don't need your help. Like, just don't be weird. Maybe that's what it is. Just don't be weird.
Yeah. And then that's what it is, yeah.
You know, the Indian party in Southern Charm, weird. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Why you gotta do that? You know? Yeah. That's the feeling. So when I went to those small communities, I'm always like, ooh, it's kind of weird. They're like looking at you kind of, but it's not like obvious.
Sure.
You know, because if we recount it,
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I was like, hey Tara, like I felt kind of weird. She'd be like, what do you mean? Nobody looked at you weird. I'm like, it's not that they're looking at. It's a vibe. It's like, ooh, it's kind of weird. It's like I'm the only one. They're like, what are you doing in our small town?
Yeah. You know
what I mean? It's like, what are you doing in our small town?
Well, because they don't feel comfortable. They're not sure who you are.
Gonna rob them or something, you know what I mean? But it's like a farmer's market, bro. But all right, you know what's really funny about like Asian people, like not Filipinos, but like Chinese people? I've noticed they love doing this. They love going to these cultural things as well. So the next weekend it was a bigger farmer's market, and there was just Chinese people, and they were just like, oh, they were doing the touristy thing. Look at all this white stuff over here, you know? And I was like, that's so funny. You're doing what they did to you.
Yeah.
You know, but like that's total role reversal there. You know, they like hopped out of their really expensive cars because, you know, they got that expensive money. And then they're just like, oh, you know, what is corn? Well, you want to try some corn? And then they're, you know, it's like, it's the exact same thing, but like flipped. And like, that's how we feel, bro. Like, you know, roti. Try the roti, you know? So you dip it. It's spicy. You know what I mean? They're like, why? Why, bro? Why you gonna say it? You know?
Right.
Anyways. Any other takeaways from Russell Peters?
No, I think the age thing was very interesting. The difference. It's funny because driving back home, there was something on the radio and they were talking about like this, the same thing repeats itself, where it's like the music situations where,
oh, dude, yeah.
Like when we were younger, our music was not good for society, but then when our parents' generations were younger at that time, those musics were, it's like it was repeating. True. It was the same thing because as we grow,
like Elvis.
Yeah. But then we listen to it now, it's like it's just normal. There's nothing weird about it. Like they were like, I think there was like some songs that were like, oh, this is demonic, because nobody understood what the guy was saying. Even FBI had to look into it. They're playing it.
Wow.
It was like it went to that level of like, how do we? Is this some poisoning the culture kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah, like Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, like Pink Floyd. They went through all that, like in reverse.
But it's just the same thing that we have in. It's cyclical.
Dude, what is that though? Like, what is? Okay, you know what? Okay, before we get into UAPs and like what's going on in Jersey, because it's very similar. So I want to bring up anime. And in anime, I feel like they are the gateway. Anime is the gateway to esoteric knowledge. And what I mean by that is I'm watching this show right now called Jujutsu Kaisen. And in that show, they liken demons, because they're basically fighting demons. It's like a mental thing. Remember we said that? We're like, oh, demons are real, but they're like mind demons. They're not like physical manifestations of demons, right? And I think I sent you that video of that like psychologist who said the exact same thing. It's like, oh yeah, like they are a conduit through us to do like negative action, let's say, right? And it's like that is a weird game that's going on, because you're like, oh yeah, like what's the, like they're implanting some crazy thoughts into our heads through like the music, and you're just like, what is this weird battle that we have going on? You know, of like who defines positive, who defines negative, like why is it demonic? And then now our set point is different, so like hearing those songs, we're like, oh, those are like PG, like Elvis is not even demonic, but like gyrating his hips, you're like, oh my god, he's demonic,
right,
you know? So it's like, what is that? Is it like, is anime trying to tell us what's really going on?
I don't know, maybe.
Because like, so One Piece, the longest anime. So I'm at this point now, like I'm caught up, and what they're trying to do is discover an ancient civilization. Basically, what happened was there was this ancient civilization that ruled the earth, and then they were more advanced than all the other civilizations. So all the other kingdoms band together to destroy this one kingdom because they wanted to take over. And then they became the world government. And in order to control the people, they had 100 years of like, it's called a 100-year blackout or something. And people don't know what happened with that 100 years. But during that 100-year time, it turns out that they tried to wipe out the knowledge of this ancient civilization. And then now in One Piece, they're trying to figure out like what that is. Like, what was that civilization? I'm like, dog, you're talking about Atlantis. Like, if you look at like ancient history right now, you're like, who built the pyramids?
Yeah.
That's it's what we're going through. See what I'm saying? And like Dragon Ball Z was talking about like energy and meditation and martial arts and like mastering your mind. So that's what I mean about like, it's the gateway to esoteric knowledge. And watching it now with what I know, this is why I'm so obsessed with it. Cause I'm like, oh, you're telling us what's going on without telling us what's going on.
Yeah.
Even Naruto is about, like if you get to the end, it's about the Anunnaki. They came here and they like ceded their powers to the lower civilization, and that's how we developed like ninja skills. I'm like, that could technically be the technology advancement that we had, you know, from like hunter gatherers to like all of a sudden we had this huge leap.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So like that's like, I kind of feel like there are some hidden messages. Whoever the writers are, they're like looking deep into this stuff. But why is it Eastern culture that's like prodding us? You know what I mean? You'd never see that in the West. Is the West like crazy psyop programming? This is going to be related to UAPs, but like...
No, I don't think it's like that. I think it depends where you're looking. I think sci-fi does that kind of stuff.
They do. Sci-fi does do that. You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's just... based on what genres are working for you, because you can get different kinds of anime too. It's not all anime is the same.
True. I'm talking. Yeah, you're right. I'm talking about the category called shonen, and basically what that is like young boy anime.
Yeah.
So it's like
So I'm like there's a category, that's why it fits into that, and that's kind of storytelling that works for that category.
Yeah. But cyberpunk too. There's cyberpunk, shonen. Sure. So like those are. Like it's more conducive to yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like here it would be like you guys focus on more on the sci-fi world, things that are around in that kind of thing. Those are what question society, that view,
push it forward,
and those sort of things. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but like, why?
It's just whatever's popular at the time too, right? There was big push at the time. I don't know how big really was Star Trek, or like for that generation. Right? It's not that big anymore. What are the sci-fi things that are now as popular is not the mainstream.
Yes, I see what you're saying. So you're right, not mainstream. But okay, check this out. Anime's mainstream. So I'm like, and like these shonen ones are super popular. That's why they're selling them all in the stores and stuff. And like if you go to Japan, like they're like love it. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, is there a weird psyop, psychological programming? The more you look into this, I just bought a book called Operation Paperclip, and it's about how, allegedly, I got to read the book, but it's about how the Nazis were U.S. took Nazis to create NASA. Right? And I'm like, is there something going on that's more nefarious with, like, it's like Star Wars. Are we the Republic? Is the West like the Republic? Remember, like the Republic's bad, but like in the beginning, they wanted to do good. If you look at Episode 1,
sure,
and then that's where Emperor Palpatine starts to like get, or is the Empire something? Anyways, but like you know what I mean? Like they're ruling most of civilization and trying to push it forward through like its laws and stuff like that, and like
what it believes is correct. Yeah. Of course.
What it believes is correct. Yeah, totally. And it's like, if you take a step back, is the West, I mean, like, it's hard to say because we're on top, so you can't really be the bad guy. Like, it's like, how do you, like, what are your other options? You know, it's like Russia and China. But
yeah,
like,
it depends on how free your society is. I think that's where it comes down to.
But why are we so, maybe it's, no. Maybe it's not even the government. Maybe it's capitalism. Maybe capitalism is what's evil about society. It's all about getting the clicks. It's all about like selling more. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah. I don't think in that sense, sure. Yeah, unregulated capitalism.
Yeah,
can become evil. Yeah,
it's corruption. Or maybe corruption is what.
Sure.
Is because I feel like with everything that's going on. All right, so I'm just gonna, before we get into the UAP thing, the CIA had a church hearing. It's called a church hearing because of the guy's name is Church. I thought it was like,
yeah.
I know. When I first heard it, I was like, oh, so you're gonna like God or something? I didn't understand. The guy's name was Church. I found this out later. Okay. So they had a church hearing because he initiated the hearing, and what it is like they realized that the CIA was dosing its own citizens with LSD. Mm-hmm. It was like an undercover thing to like see the effects of this thing, see the effects of the drug, right? And then what had happened was they realized this, so they brought them in front of a committee, and then they had to make them admit that this was going on. And then when they admitted that this was going on, they had to like regulate it, fix it. Okay, that's one. Then you look into stories like Barry Seal, where the CIA, maybe the CIA is the evil one. The CIA is the one that's providing the drugs to Barry Seal. Barry Seal gives it to the black community. The black community gets hooked on drugs. We create the war on drugs. And then you're perpetuating this like war machine, military industrial complex, right? So now getting into UAPs, if you look into it, allegedly they have these reverse engineered crafts that they're doing like human trafficking and drug smuggling with. If you look into Stephen Greer's thing, it's all of these like the UFO attacked me. These are staged in order to create like mass panic over, not mass panic, but like, yeah, I guess mass panic over over like UFOs. And then there's a thing called Operation Mockingbird where the CIA was paying off the media to tell its stories and kill other stories. This came out. So it's like all these things, and you're like, these are pretty bad. So I'm like, is the West actually the bad guy? You know what I'm saying?
I understand, like, but I don't know.
It's kind of weird. You're just like, dog, this is a lot of things. Like you took the Nazi scientists to become like NASA people. What are we doing out here? You know what I mean? Like you have so many. You literally, that's what Truth and Reconciliation is. You had a pact with the indigenous. It was a 3-way team. And then you cut the indigenous out of the deal. And then Truth and Reconciliation is about them finally having a voice to talk about this cutting out of the deal. And when you cut them out of the deal, that's why we have to like do land acknowledgement and stuff. And it's like, there's another thing. And then you lied to us. You said that wasn't real. Because I never heard about this as a child because they tried to erase it from history, just like One Piece was saying. Now I'm like, what the hell's going on, guys? Like, are you evil? Like, what is good? But they're thinking, like you said, hey, we're trying to keep the peace. Like, you like your freedoms, right? Let us.
Yeah, there's some things like that, and like, what was it? We don't really know what was going on at the time for what were these things. We really have to look into what were the reports are actually saying. Why were we doing these things? What was the purpose of those things?
All right, so let's take them like one by one. The Nazi scientists. Well, when I read the book, I'll have more information, but what it sounds like is that they knew that the Nazis had advanced technology that they didn't have, allegedly UFOs, and then they took them to take that knowledge because they had like really top scientists. They're like, okay, let's just like, let's just take your knowledge.
Yeah, can it be like they were just scientists that happened to be can only survive because they were
under the Nazi
rule. So are they Nazi scientists or just scientists?
Allegedly, one of the people that like started NASA, he was one of the most villainous Nazis. Like, he'd hang the slowest worker, or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it seems a little bad.
Yeah. Sure. You know? That would seem bad. I'm like, did they bring only that one person, or they bring a bunch of?
Oh, it's a whole bunch of people.
Right. I don't know, like, if they knew at the time that this was happening, or this guy did these things. Right. Can these reports come out later? Because sometimes it's like it's a mess of things, and you don't know who's who, or maybe he run under a different name, or like these reports weren't really informed of at the time, right? So it's difficult to say. But yeah, who knows? Like, you can only find out after the fact sometimes.
Or it's like, also kill one to save 1,000. You know, what's the greater good?
That's another thing too. There was also, of course, it was like a crazy war at the time that in order for the U.S. to have a better hand, these are like pretty smart scientists. We need this so that in order to have a stronger defense next time around.
Yeah, totally. Which is delving into the UFO issue, which is, I think, this is really what most likely is happening. So before we get there, so what about like the dosing of people with LSD?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's just science, you know?
Sure, but I don't know if those were people that signed up for these kinds of tests.
No, they didn't. They would just do it like without. And then that's when they're like, you need better regulation, etc.
Yeah, and at those times too, it was like the Wild West. Like, things were being done that was like not easily documented, not easily found out about, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, it's also like, oh, Las Vegas, I'm wearing the Las Vegas shirt. So it's also like how Las Vegas is now a huge booming like city, but it was started off mob money. So it's like, do we undo Las Vegas because of the mob money? You know what I mean? Because it's mob ties.
Yeah, but like, it's like, yeah. But like, everything starts with, I mean, like, if you want to go back, it's just like, then they're saying like the Europeans coming to America.
Yeah.
The whole thing was bad, right? So we got to all leave. I don't think that's going to happen.
So yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you're building on a bad foundation. It's like, how do we move forward with positivity in mind?
Well, that's to figure out how do we
well, maybe that's a naive
correct
view.
The errors.
But maybe that's whatever we
can. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, because everything has been conquered and changed and evolved. Like, if you say even Egypt, right? Technically, Egypt is African, but Africans won't consider them. They'll call them invaders who are living there currently as Arabs, right? That would be their viewpoint.
Right. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But so it's like, been so many years, right? It's different now. So,
like, whose side of the story are you going to listen to? Maybe
it's just I think it just comes down to like, how do we create a better society from now? That's the thing, I think, you know what I mean? Where do we fix those issues but change society for the better?
But maybe it's for sure. And maybe that's what they were thinking too. And it's like, every time you make a step, like Jainism.
Yeah.
So like, they don't want to hurt anything, right? So maybe it's like, when you take a step on the ground, you have to realize that you're killing plants.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, no matter what action you choose, there'll always be a negative repercussion from that, just by its very nature.
Mm-hmm.
Yin and yang, right? So like, you might think you're doing a good thing, but it's bad for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's just like what we do, like who we are as a species.
Mm-hmm.
Because why don't we have a utopia? We know, like, they're like 1,000 starving people in Africa. It's like, okay, fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the economic system, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, we don't have enough resources, blah, blah, blah. So you're like, or like, oh, I want a cheaper iPhone. Okay, well, it's slave labor.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like every good thing that we have has some negative thing associated with it. There's not a single thing that we do that's positive. No, that's comfortable.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't, because like there are positive things we could do, but I mean like we enjoy our comforts, and every single comfort makes someone else uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like our nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like maybe that is what it is. And that's what like Stephen Greer was saying, that these like aliens that are in space that like interact with us, they're more afraid of us than we are of them. Like they're actually not trying to kill us because they're so like spacefaring, allegedly. Which makes sense, because if you have the ability to travel through space, like you could take us out instantly, bro. But you're not doing it. It's so logical, you know? Like if you really wanted to take over, you could.
Sure. Yeah.
But you're not doing, and you've been here for like thousands of years, more than that, because we have evidence of you. So it's like these aliens are like, they are worried about our mindset if we get their technology. Which is like, if we can go to their planet, they think that maybe you're going to take us over, bro. We did everything. Look at sharks. Like, sharks are scary, right? It's like, we're not really afraid of sharks. We kill sharks. I eat shark soup. You know what I mean? It's like shark fin soup. So it's like,
yeah.
Are they really scary? Because like humans dominated this planet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, could those aliens be thinking the exact same thing? It's like, like, oh, they might come get us. Which actually logically makes sense. Maybe we are the villains, bro.
Maybe.
By our nature.
Sure, I understand. Maybe.
And we all want to be like benevolent and kind, because that's like the highest form of living. I was going to say consciousness, but like that's so arbitrary because people say it all the time. It's like, oh, the highest state of consciousness is like loving and kind, right? But like just living out your daily actions through a loving and kind way is the best approach for everything. And maybe that's why Jesus and Buddha and all these people were like trying to preach it. Because until we get that right, why would we enter into this galactic empire where we could kill them? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like Dune, you know, like we are the bad, we're the army planet. What do you think? Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, that could be a trajectory that we go into. We don't know where. It depends. What are events that happen that lead us in that direction?
I think like past is a great predictor of future behavior. And if you look at our past, it's very warring.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's like, if you take that into account, we must be the warring species.
Yeah.
Right?
That's something that's been pretty stable in our evolution. Or
war.
All societies.
Because it requires hardship in order to grow. Because like you can't build resilience without resistance. You need something to battle against.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a resilient person. How do you know? I went through XYZ. Oh, those are tough things.
Yeah.
You know? We need the difficulty in order for us to evolve as a species. But if that is our primer for evolution, then of course we're going to be like negative.
We'll continue that way. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We're our foundation is from a place of negativity. So as we grow, your fertilizer is like negative. So you're going to be negative. But that's why, like, you know, Buddha and Jesus and stuff, they're trying to preach like love and harmony. Because if you come from that place, then all of your actions will grow into that. But you're also weak. Like the person who.
But you said about
war.
Yeah, you said the one in Peru, right? That culture that was there.
Yeah, the Incas.
Yeah.
I think it was Incas,
It's like they had like plenty of food. They had like, but they didn't have to do anything with war. But then neighboring
Spaniards came and killed them.
Yeah,
colonized them. Yeah, because like if you go to Machu Picchu, at the very top, it was a school, and like all of those people would go there, like from like neighboring lands. They'd bring their leaders there, and they'd learn about like astrology and like leadership, and like they would wrestle. They'd do some sort of like hardship thing too, but they wouldn't like go out and conquer, and then
that's what happened to they're not thinking about the last airbender. That's what happened to the air nomads.
Air nomads. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and those Incas, they had enough food, like double the food for one person.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody was hungry,
right?
Because of the way they built those step like if you look at the pictures of it, it's like step ladders, and each step is a different elevation, so that it has like a different temperature, and you can grow a different type of food. That's what we were told. So with that, it's like you have this utopia, and because it's so soft, it can get wiped out by the barbarians. When the Spanish came, like the Incas retreated to the Amazon because they knew, we're being conquered. So like utopic, peaceful society will always lose to the warring society. But can you like strike a balance of both? Like I've heard this one where it's like,
that's the question. Yeah, that's
right.
What that
like
means,
the samurai, maybe, that philosophy.
Maybe, but I think that was what was the dilemma in Avatar, right? Or Airbender. Because you had to figure out how to be able to defeat them. You have to have some power in order to be able to create a safe enough society.
That was actually the dilemma, and then he just ended up taking away the power of the Fire Lord.
Yeah, but that he had to go and become that. He had to become stronger than the guy.
True, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
He became stronger than the guy in order to be able to do that.
Yeah, so maybe it's always the bigger stick always wins. Because even the Fire Lord is like, I'm gonna like conquer the earth, and then Aang was like, no, you won't. And they're like, you gotta kill the Fire Lord, you gotta kill the Fire Lord. He didn't kill him, but he did have to become stronger than the Fire Lord in order to take away his power.
Yeah.
Which brings us to UFOs. Stronger than everyone else. So, a little bit of a backstory, so you don't have to like listen to other podcasts and stuff that we've spoken about. Basically, what happened allegedly is there was a crash. I'm listening to so many different sources, and what it sounds like is there's downed alien vehicles, and the Nazis were one of the first to try and reverse engineer it. Because they found one, they're like, okay, we're gonna figure this out. Obviously, there's a more recent one with Roswell, and then people think that was, what the impetus was. But it sounds like if you go further back enough, the Nazis were trying to create anti-gravity because they saw like, oh, there's like a spaceship that's able to fly, So they're trying to, if they can create anti-gravity first, then they would win the war. But while they were working on anti-gravity, the West was working on nuclear bombs, right? Hiroshima. And then that's why it ended the war, because once the two bombs are like, oh, we got to stop this, right? So then Roswell happens, and then they start to reverse engineer other technology off of these crafts. So people, this sounds so crazy. You're like, oh, there's no way this is real. There's books about this, but you're like, oh, those authors are lying. And then in Congress, they admitted to, and they put it in, for public record, Immaculate Constellation. So what that code name is the searching out of UFO crashes, and then the retrieval and reverse engineering of that. This is like public record. And the reason why they didn't want Immaculate Constellation to go out is because once you know the name of something, you can search it up for a FOIA. The reason why FOIA, people are like, oh, but you have freedom of information, whatever. But if you don't know the project name, then it's like,
how are you gonna find
what do I give you, bro?
Sure.
What do I give you? You know? Yeah. So that's why it was a big bombshell that they like admitted to the name, and then they put it in record. So now you can like go back and like, I want a FOIA for Immaculate Constellation. But there's still more steps. Like you have to be super specific. It's not just the name. Mm-hmm. There's more. But okay, so they've admitted, we know that this is real. Okay. So if Operation Paperclip did happen, they took the Nazis because they were working on anti-gravity. You can't give it, like, who are our top scientists in America? It's not the government sector. It's the commercial sector.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You would give it to like Lockheed Martin, your defense contractors, because they have the best scientists. They're creating all of your weapons. Right? Sure. Just like the nuclear bomb, right? Like it's like you have your best scientists working on this thing, right? Yeah. It's not government officials. The government officials go out and find these scientists. So they give it to these big organizations, and then these companies start reverse engineering it, and they come up with their own vehicles called ARVs, alien reproduction vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of what we're seeing now, because they're like, oh, the Tic Tac UFO that they chased was in 2008 or 2003. I can't remember, one of those. And then in Stephen Greer's video, he's like, oh, we had that in the 60s. And he shows photos of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, okay, dog, we know you're onto something. Okay. So what he's alleging, and this is where I was going with it, but I was like, that sounds too nefariously crazy to me. So he's saying that a shadow government who operates outside of the government is using these vehicles for human trafficking and drug trafficking. Why do the kingpins of these drug organizations never get caught? Because they're being funded by the CIA or like the 3-letter agencies that are giving them the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
It logically makes sense. It's like, why don't you bring the kingpin down? Oh, it's this crazy organization, this like drug cartel. So you're telling me that the American government can't figure out how a drug cartel works? Who's at the top of the pyramid? Oh, the American government. Right? They're like creating the problems because they need a military industrial. They need like an enemy. Does that make sense? Are you following me?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, I was like, okay, so it sounds like a Marvel movie right now. Mm-hmm. You know, like the new Captain America where like they infiltrated. Who's the girl who's like, she was on Seinfeld?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember her name, but Elaine is the character from Seinfeld.
So, right? So like what they're showing us in Marvel is like, maybe that's what's going on. There's like a sub-government that's working within the government to like keep the peace, but they're really like evil.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like according to our view of what's evil. But they would be like, hey man, this is how economics works. We need to supply the drugs. We need to, if you listen to Sean Ryan's podcast, you supply the drugs, you bring them into private prisons bring money in, you can get free labor, cheap labor, because these prisoners have to work on something.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were sent out to like put out the fires and stuff, you know?
Right.
So like you get cheap labor and then the cycle continues. That's like the economy of prisons and war. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then yesterday you brought up the craze. I was like, oh man, this is freaking me out, you know? And then you brought up this point, which is like, well, you want to say it about how like they're not.
Just repeat it. I can't remember everything.
All right. So you were like, they admitted that these are not hostile.
Right. It's not a foreign adversary, nor is it a threat.
Yeah. And what does that mean then?
That means they know what it is.
Right.
You can't say those two things without not knowing what it is.
Exactly. And why aren't you shooting it down, bro? Right? Like, why didn't you scramble? So what I heard was from a different UFO podcast, because people are like, what is Russia and China? And what they were saying is that these UFOs, if they are Russia and China and they admit to it being that country, it's an act of war, and we jump into World War III. because like you have laws, you have international treaty laws. You can't. That's why the Chinese spy balloon. They're like, let's shoot it down. You can't have those things infiltrate, our area, because that's an act of war, right? So I was like, and what they're saying is, if they admit that it's Russia or China, we automatically. Hold on, let me sign my phone. We automatically go into World War III, and that's what they don't want. They know what it is. It's not hostile, like you were saying. And is not, what did you say, is not a foreign adversary?
Yeah. An object from foreign adversary.
So that's what they said, right? And then it's like, okay, so are you trying to keep World War III from happening? But that, to me, it was like, because we were talking about it yesterday, it's like, but if they had the power to do, if Russia and China had the power to do that, they would just take us out. Like, what do you mean, bro? Like, they lit in New Jersey, they saw 50 of these drones, quote unquote, come out of the water. And they see these drones all over military bases. It's like, whoa, why are these drones all over militaries? Why are these drones like coming out of water? Okay, so one, they must have an underwater base. If they're able to like go through like air and space so easily. I actually got a book called USOs, Underwater Submergible Objects. It's about this, and they're saying like off the coast of Catalina Island in America, there's like an underwater UFO base. Freak people out there. Oh my god, there's UFOs in our ocean. I really don't think so. So you're telling me Atlantis is like Atlantis from Marvel is real? The Atlanteans are real, and they didn't want to fight us up until this point? Like what? Like you should have taken us out when we had the nuke, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it makes no sense. Like if you just logically look at it, it's like it can't be Russia or China because they would have just taken us out.
Yeah. I mean, what I mentioned was like, why were they having this much of a hard time with Ukraine?
That was the thing. Yeah, Ukraine. If you're so advanced, why didn't you just take out Ukraine? Bro, what were you doing? Right? And then if it's Atlanteans in the sea like a Marvel movie, why'd you wait so long? We got better at our technology. You should have taken us out way early. Right? So definitely not aliens in the sea. It's definitely not a foreign adversary. Right? So like the other thing was was it Iran? The TR-3B?
It was Israel that was using it, right?
It's Israel. Yeah. Oh no. So they were like, this is where it all kicked off for me. So I was like, there's like a UFO protecting Israel.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, they're here to save us. And then I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I was looking at the comments, and it's like, oh, it's the TR-3B in action. I was like, TR-3B. So I Googled TR-3B. I think this is what messed up my account, and like, because I was just like, get this information out there. Like, you don't know what I triggered, right?
Yeah.
So like, in promoting the TR-3B, like if you look into the TR-3B, America has a patent for anti-gravity technology. That's a triangle. Where did we see the triangle before? The Phoenix Lights. Where do you also see the triangle? If you look at the footage from Jersey, you see 3 lights in the shape of a triangle. Dog, it's the TR-3B.
Right.
Like, what else could it freaking be, bro? And then Lou Elizondo in his book, he's like, the way that these things would operate is you'd have a gravity force field around it, and then like in the center, there's an object that's unaffected by gravity. How do you know so much, bro? Somebody must have reverse engineered it. And then all these fighter pilots are like Ryan Graves. He's like, oh, I'm seeing them every day. There's like hundreds of them. And then every time I tell it to my superior, they like blackball it. They're like, don't worry about it. That's nothing. And they erase the tapes. I'm like, what is this crazy conspiracy? Okay. Go watch Oppenheimer for Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
The level of secrecy that they had to keep.
And need to know. A lot of things was need to know.
It's a decompartmentalized need to know basis, bro. So why would your superior, you are a fighter pilot.
Like as simple as that, like, it's like working on a math physics. What is this for? It's a need to know. You don't know. You're even working on a nuclear weapon.
Dog. Exactly. And they classified the UFO. And if you listen to it, bro, so I'm so deep into this lore, and what you said to me yesterday just clicked, made everything click. That's why I was like, oh, okay, this is the answer. You figured it out. So, like, if you look into the lore more, they classified the UFO, the downed UFOs, to the level of the Atomic Secrecy Act. And what they said was it falls under that because it's emitting a radio signature.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did was the highest level of secrecy in US government was the atomic bomb. So they use that same level of secrecy for these UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
And then people are like, dog, you're trying to tell us that we're not alone in the universe. Just admit it to us, blah, 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 blah. And it's like the American people can understand it, whatever. It's like, we can't. We all know. Like, you'd be crazy not to think that there are aliens out there. That's not the problem. The problem is the other countries.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what you said. And I was like, totally. It's a show of force.
Yeah.
You're technologizing,
right.
You're detonating a nuclear bomb, aka you're showing how many of these ships you have without saying it's you.
Mm-hmm.
So the American people, all of us, were like, dude, UFOs, bro. Like, there's so many of them. They're real. It fits with what Stephen Greer is saying. All of these organizations have like high level security. Like, it's not a shadow government. Technically, it is a shadow government because it's a government operating outside of the shadows. But what these people most likely are thinking is, we need the best weapon to keep America on top because the one with the biggest stick always wins.
Mm-hmm.
And we know through history, dog, it's actually all making sense. If you read the economics books, right?
Yeah.
They all say that all kingdoms rise and fall. Oh, so you don't think any genius in the government didn't think about that?
Mm-hmm.
What's the one thing keeping America from falling? The biggest stick.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, Russell Peters said that America is going to be our third world country in 3 to 5 years, and India is going to take over. You're right. All the signs, all the trends are BRICS. When I was in university, they were like, in the next 10 years or something, BRICS is going to take over. Brazil, Russia, India, China. It's going to be the new NAFTA, right? They're all warning us. COVID, dude, your economics is going to crush. 2008 financial crisis, your economics is going to crush. Okay, the economic system is going to crush. Are we really going to let them take over? No. What are we going to do? We're going to create a mass fleet of UFOs, show our force. Nobody's going to want to mess with us.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only logical thing.
Yeah.
All signs are pointing to the US is failing. Okay, cool. But we still have the biggest stick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it can't fail. Because even if it's failing, we want to preserve freedom, right? And this is what I would be bought into too. If they were like, no, but for real though. Like, if they were like, hey, Beach, we want you to be a part of this program. All right, cool. What is it about? It's the most highest secret clearance. We're going to drug run. We're going to like human traffic. Diddy's going to be a part of it. Freaking Epstein's going to be a part of it. I'm sure it's all connected. Now that you're looking at it, like human trafficking, wait. Diddy and Epstein were also about human trafficking. Wait, they also had presidents on their thing. Okay, what is this crazy shadow government? Totally, yes. Because sex, drugs, and rock and roll is what runs like a human's desire process.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to feed, that's the one thing that we can have infinite economics over, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a joke, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, we need to keep that on top, right?
Mm-hmm.
But trends are pointing down. So we need to use the same technology to let that go. But don't you like your freedom? Don't you like that me and you are having a podcast right now? I do. Okay, in order to keep this freedom, we need to develop these UFOs and allow the sex, drugs, and rock and roll to go on. Cool, bro. I would be bought in too. Who wouldn't be bought in? You like your freedom, right? Do you want to look like Ukraine? Do you want to look like Israel?
Right.
No? All right, let us reverse engineer these things, keep the nefarious things going, but this is our main weapon. Because like people are like, oh, corporations are running this thing. Okay, corporations aren't going to run a country though.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, we're not going to vote for a corporation.
No.
But the corporation will support the country. General Electric has the UFOs. Lockheed Martin has the UFOs. These are American companies, bro.
Yeah.
All right, tell me I'm wrong. In that whole thing.
No, I think
the logic is sound.
Yeah, it's America that has these weapons. That's what they're showing.
Yeah. And I heard this podcast. They're like, because there's another thing that they said. They want a one world government. So Project Bluebeam. This is also crazy, bro. Project Bluebeam was a Nazi invention. Wait a minute. Is America infiltrated by Nazis? Nazi ideology?
No, I don't think
they have the scientists.
Sure, but then we have it in NASA.
Is the shadow government the Nazis?
Well, that was one of these stories that I read about. Yeah.
Really?
No, I'm not like a. I'm just saying.
Like a Marvel.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because that's kind of weird. Because you're like, wait, you're using all the Nazi thing. Of course, they'd become the. Anyways, that's another thought for later. But like, it just nothing else fits perfect. Oh, okay, so what they said in the Project Bluebeam, it's a Nazi philosophy that they're going to bring back religion and they're going to stage a UFO. You can Google this, bro. It was on my social media feed. It wasn't even this is when I knew it was taking over. It was from the culture feed, like rap stuff. I think it's like in Art Plastic or something. I forgot the account's name, but usually they just give me rap information. Right. But then they gave me the UFO information. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And in that post, it was the one I sent you guys. It showed the TR-3B and it showed Project Bluebeam. So check this out. People are like, oh, they're going to use this to stage a UFO invasion, and then you're going to create a one world government. No, I disagree. Wait, with that. Like, they're like, oh, that's really what's going on. And they just want to control you, just like COVID, stuff like that. I'm like, no way. You know why? Because people can Google it, bro. The internet is there. You just Google TR-3B, you Google Project Bluebeam. Oh, this is following the exact steps of Project Bluebeam. Oh, I'm going to watch Dr. Stephen Greer's documentaries. I'm just going to download it. We've all seen it. So you're like, okay, America, you can't lie to me. And then the shadow government's like, you guys are so off the mark. We're not even trying to like trick you. We just want to do what you said. We just want to show of force for the other countries to back down.
Yeah. It's an information battle, right? That's why the issue with TikTok or why they banned some things that were from Russia. Because this is the propaganda stuff that's... Because they can't fight with the same weapons. The weapon that they can fight with is information.
The other side, like China,
the
Russia.
Other side.
100%, bro. Yeah, go down that rabbit hole. Like, you're right. Because, like
why... Yeah, like TikTok is a big thing. That's like one of their influential things in society. Everyone's using it, and it's something that's controlled by China.
Yeah.
This is a national security threat.
It's programming, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, it's literally, it's like, hey, we're going to make your people docile. They're all going to be watching Southern Charm. They're all going to be thinking about like diversity issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The sexuality battle is going to be so raging. We're going to make your people incompetent. America said, cool story. Look at our UFOs. And they're like, oh, shoot, we can't. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you're right. It's an information battle because that's all they can do. And maybe that's why they're hyping us up, like the China and Russia, with this like conspiracy narrative.
Right.
Because they're like, hey, your government's lying to you.
Yeah.
And our government,
and the only way, and we said like the way that the a government can fail is when you stop believing in your institutions.
Yeah, totally. So you can crumble it. So this is World War III is happening, but it's not what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy. World War III is happening right now, but it's not bombs and like whatever. It's information.
Correct. Yeah. Like we never labeled it World War II during World War II.
Facts. Oh my God, this is crazy. We freaking cracked the code, bro. This is exactly what's happening on society right now. While people are looking at it like, oh my God, UFOs are invading. Government's like, nah, dog, you are so off the mark.
Right.
We're protecting you by showing these UFOs
mm-hmm.
because the information battle is heavy. We cannot compete with TikTok, like you said. The algorithm's too good. People don't even know. The only thing that I would be like, okay, if they're following Project Bluebeam. Okay, here's the thing. If these UFOs are, we're going to admit that they're ours. The UFOs are ours. If the UFOs show up like they are now in New Jersey and they leave, then you know that it was a show of force. Right? Because one person was saying like, oh, this is whoever's running this show is trying to see how the public will react to this. Like if we admit that they're aliens, if like whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. It's almost like they don't care about our opinion.
Yeah.
They don't. There's like, all right, like, you know what I mean? Like who cares if you care about aliens and stuff? So like, if in 2025 we start seeing like a battle happen between these UFOs, then I'll be like, yeah, it's Project Bluebeam. Then I'll just be posting like, dog, it's just Project Bluebeam, ignore it. This is the U.S. government trying to kill its own people. But it would never try and kill its own people. Why would the U.S. government destroy its own cities?
No, it just...
Who benefits? Right. Apple, bro. We all want Apple. We all want economics.
Yeah, like a stable government is what's best for any economy. If you have war, it's not good for the economy at all, right?
Yeah.
And it's only like a few companies that would be beneficial. That's it. But it would affect everybody else.
Yes. Yes, it would. Wait a minute. Okay. Is Stephen Greer... Okay. Dude, this is crazy. If you look at one side of the argument, Stephen Greer's in a vacuum. We are not in a vacuum. We're looking at this objectively. We're looking at both sides. We're like trying to figure it out. Stephen Greer, I agree with everything you're saying, bro. I'm sure you have the evidence. I'm not taking anything away from that. But you're looking at it from a good versus bad perspective. We're looking at it as to who's in charge of these people. You really think that the shadow government wants to take over the world and make a one world government and have all of its people stage a battle and then we're all gonna band together like we did with COVID? Nah, bro, that is too many moving parts.
There's too many moving parts. Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, we're gonna stage this battle and then we're gonna say it's aliens and then people are gonna sign up for the army and then but as soon as you destroy a city, bro, people aren't going to work. If you blow up Toronto downtown, we're like, dog, we are not working right now. Yeah. Like, we got to fix that problem. Right? But a government stays in power through a stable economy and a stable government. As soon as you introduce war, we lose the game. The whole world loses. Right?
Yeah.
But what they're trying to do, you can still keep the economics, but who becomes the new superpower in that economic game? And I think that's really the 4D chess we're playing here. We think it's so simple in terms of like battling and like whatever, but it's like no, it's like we just want to keep America on top. That's it.
Right.
I think that's the only objective. Think about Oh my God, it actually makes total freaking sense. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Yeah. Right.
That's your mandate, bro. You're joining the army. Yeah. It's not I pledge allegiance to corporations. I pledge allegiance to money. I pledge allegiance. No, it's I pledge allegiance to the flag, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make America great. Okay, cool. Let's get these UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
And all the other people can run around talking about whatever they want. Alien invasion, Project Bluebeam, blah, blah, blah. We're like, dude, we're already like 20 steps ahead. Like, it's very simple. We just want to stay on top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And all of this stuff is just you guys getting confused. And it's like a cute story of like, you know, like, dude, and then there's microchips in the vaccines. And you're like, okay.
Right.
We're just trying to keep you guys safe, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I mean? Yeah. They didn't know that they were working on a nuclear bomb till the bomb was used.
Exactly. They didn't admit. And the craziest part is, again, the internet, just Google TR3B, you see the freaking patent, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So what Stephen Greer was saying is that these all link up to oil and gas. The people that run oil and gas are really like the Saudis and stuff, right?
Sure.
He said like it all comes down to a few set of families.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sure. Let's look at the richest people in America, the Rothschilds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sure. Okay, cool. Yeah. For sure. They want to stay on top. But what are they? American.
Mm-hmm.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, bro. Like they're just trying to keep America on. I really think that's the only answer that makes total sense to me. With everything that's going on, like drug running and like, you're right. We are doing that. We are creating, not we, they are creating,
right.
You know, a military industrial complex. They are, you know, giving money to drug cartels. They are supporting human trafficking. Epstein, Diddy. They're doing all that. For what? To keep America on top. Because the Rothschilds and all those $1 million people are freaking American.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to keep their way of life going, and they want to keep the way of life going for all of us.
Right. Yeah.
Even though you think that the Rothschilds are evil, there's like satanic cults and the blah, 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 right? Sure. But you know that they have wings for hospitals, right? You know that they have like full nonprofit organization funding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they aren't doing only negative things with their money.
Right.
Oh my God, dude. Oh, dude. I love this podcast. It's the best podcast ever. So you know what? Here, my best example, and I use this on so many people, right? If you and I are multi-billionaires, okay? Let's just say you and I are multi-billionaires. Thought experiment for everyone listening. You're a multi-billionaire. A homeless person comes up to you and says, "Hey man, I'd like to open up this business." All right, cool. What's your business plan? I don't got one, bro, but I know it'll work. What's your history of doing it? Dude, I don't know. I'm homeless, but I believe in myself.
Right.
Cool story. And that homeless person is every single citizen to the Rothschilds. Mm-hmm. They're like, dog, you don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's like, we think that we have a great business plan, but they're like, you don't even understand the board. And that's why they're like, just go watch your reality TV. We'll manage things over here.
Mm-hmm.
Because who owns Lockheed Martin? The CEO of Lockheed Martin, the owners of Lockheed Martin. We just said it's an American organization. If another superpower takes over, well, your company's down the drain, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you creating these secret fleet of UFOs? To protect America.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
we have.
Yeah, go ahead and keep going.
Yeah, these are they're weapons. Why would they reveal what they have? Yeah, exactly.
Until it's time.
Until it needs to be used.
Yeah, and they're like, but they're not even shooting. Well, I mean, they showed the TR3B protecting that thing, but it's like
that was in action. That was a one in action to show what it can do.
Yeah.
But then it's not just one. There's more than one. Like more than of the
vehicles. 50 came out of the water, bro. 50.
Mm-hmm.
Is War of the Worlds? Like, what are we doing out here? Why is nobody shooting them down? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's like it's their own government. It's American military stuff, right? If it was something with foreign object, like how quickly they went after
a
spy balloon, like take a jet right close to it to see what, you know what I mean? Like, what's the threat? They didn't do any of that stuff. So, again, if they can tell you what it is and like if it's safe and if it's not a foreign adversary stuff, that's just to keep the markets level. Like, don't be afraid of this thing. It means that they know what it is. It's an American product.
And so people are listening and they're like, why would you scramble jets then? Like, why wouldn't you just use these things if you have them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The moment you show the full capabilities to another country, you know what they're going to try and do? Reverse engineer it.
Replicate it, yeah.
Yeah. And this totally makes sense. I heard that there's a secret Cold War because every country has their own UFO reverse engineering program, right? You have Russia, like George Knapp went to Russia to steal their UFO files because they have reverse engineering. He's just a reporter though. He's not trying to do anything crazy. So they have their own reverse engineer UFO program. China has its own UFO reverse engineer program, but I'm going dark here. What's going on? Do you see it?
Yeah.
Is it because I made hand gestures?
Probably did. Yeah.
All right. So they have their own reverse engineering program. So what it is which country can figure it out first. Because what I heard from Jeremy Corbell was if these things had a payload and you can move at such fast speeds, payload like a bomb.
Yeah.
If you can move at such fast speeds, like you'd obliterate a city. So if China made that, boom, warp over, drop the bomb, warp back. You're dead.
Mm-hmm.
But America's like, no, guys, we've got it. But as soon as you start showing, like, it's like, why'd you send a jet to blow up the balloon if you have these UFOs? Because if we show our capabilities, you'll know our capabilities.
Yeah.
We need to keep it secret until it's time to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's crazier than this? You think that that's all they have. Okay, let's just show them like a little bit of our power. Throw out the 50 UFOs, bro. But what else do they have?
Mm-hmm.
And where are they hiding these bases? Underwater.
Right.
Because nobody's going there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing that logically makes sense. There was, okay, so even, all right, if you listen to the podcast very carefully with Lou Elizondo, he said that there was a report of a submarine. So like a submarine is like quite large. I don't know how big it is, but like it's very, very large, right? And there was a thing.
Well, the different sizes of submarines.
It was one of the, like the huge ones.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but like he said it was like a giant submarine. And then the captain reported, and he went to go check out this report of a giant thing that basically moved past the submarine.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just like went past it.
Right.
So I'm thinking, oh my God, there's monsters in the sea, bro. Right?
Right.
And then Lou Elizondo was like, what did you do when you saw that? Like, we just went around it. And you're like, that's got to be military tech, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's not. And then they also said that there's another one that's bigger than an ocean rig. You know how giant those ocean rigs are?
Yeah.
There's one that they saw off the thing, and they knew it was bigger than the ocean rig because it was near the ocean rig, so they could see, oh my God, dude, this thing's huge. So it's like, America, do you have Gundams? No, for real though. Right, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, dog, how they're just like, throw out the 50 tiny UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
And then China and Russia are like, dude, we don't even have anything close to that. What else do they have? You think they're gonna show you their freaking Gundam mobile suit?
Right? Yeah. No. Why would they do that?
No. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They have. America has a directed energy weapon, bro. So what that is like, and you can hear it. So I don't discredit anything that Stephen Greer is saying. All the people that you got. So all right, there's in the Arctic or like South Arctic. What's the thing at the South Pole?
South Pole.
Yeah. So in the South Pole, Antarctica. Cool. So there is a base there that's owned by the U.S. And then there was a guy, you could watch in his new documentary, Battle for Disclosure. Oh my God, are you just chasing the wrong thing? Like Stephen Greer, he's like, oh my God, there's a shadow government. He's like, no, dude, we're trying to protect America. And your documentaries are just messing up our process, bro. We're trying to keep it away from the Chinese, bro.
I think.
So, wait.
Okay, go ahead. No.
Because I want to tell you.
I wonder if it's because of the need to know basis that he can't get the whole story. Because it's
like, I just need to know. I just want to know, bro.
Like only some people know what they know, and then like maybe they don't tell them the full story of what they actually are working on and stuff like that. So
there's the nuclear bomb all over again, but bigger than the nuclear bomb.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at like, oh, they brought all of these Nazi scientists to America. Like Americans are like, show us what you know about anti-grav. Okay, here. All right, cool. Let's start developing some weapons.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, it logically makes sense for the next big battle. You know why? You know why? Because when the nuclear bomb went off, they were like, we need something bigger than this. We need something way more important than the nuclear bomb. Because we know that our adversaries can make nuclear bombs too. So in Antarctica, so there's a guy in the documentary. He's like, we are contracted. He's a firefighter. So when you're a firefighter, you have to know the layout of the place so that you can like put out the fires just in case there's an emergency.
Sure. Yeah.
So he stumbled upon a directed energy weapon, and he's like, now we know it as Havana syndrome. So like, you ever heard of Havana syndrome?
You may have mentioned it.
Okay, dog. So there's a weapon that they shoot a sound wave at you.
Oh yeah, okay.
And it can make you feel like you're on fire. It can make you nauseous, but nothing's happening to you. It's just sound.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's like, oh my God, I'm on fire, bro. But it's like, no, bro, it's just sound waves.
It's sound waves,
yeah. So he stumbled upon that. And what he was saying is like the directed energy weapon is controlling UFO traffic that's coming from outer space. And also it's communicating with things that we have in space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what that sounds like to me, he's like, it's an air traffic controller type of thing. So like if UFOs are trying to come in, they have to like manage it. Like you can't just let all these UFOs come in, right? So like, all right, we have to manage it. Okay. It sounds like a country's trying to protect itself.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a protection weapon.
Right.
Like, I really don't think that it's supposed to affect us on a daily basis. These things are set in place so we can continue our way of life.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Dog, we work so hard to get Apple off the ground. Dog, we work so hard to get Samsung off. Dog, we work so hard to get these skyscrapers up. You think we're going to let it go just like that?
Yeah. No.
It's the only thing that makes sense. That's why when you said it yesterday, I was like, oh, everything clicked. Because every single thing that I've heard about these UFOs. But this is the thing. What I was hearing from was the vacuum. The vacuum was they're hiding something from us. But for the first time I heard they're protecting you. And I was like, wait, yeah, both sides can be true. They are hiding something from us, just like they hid the nuclear bomb. But what did they do with the nuclear bomb? Protect us, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So it's top secret because we need to keep our weapons secret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's like basic.
That makes sense.
That makes total sense, bro. If like the simplest example, if I'm in jiu-jitsu, I'm not going to use my number one weapon against you. I'm gonna like save that
Exactly.
Like
right.
one of the best things, like a wrist lock or like an ankle lock. People hate me for doing that, right? Because it's so quick. You just break the wrist and they're like, oh. But I don't like go off the bat with that. I'm hitting you with an Americana, like a arm lock thing, and then like if it's not working, then I hit the wrist lock. You know, you don't jump out of the gate with the wrist lock, bro.
Yeah.
You know, you don't show your freaking Gundams. I really think they got Gundams, bro. From the sounds of it, all right. Let's just summarize the threats. Is it Russia or China? No, they would have taken over. Is it a secret Atlantean base? No, they would have taken over way long before. They had tech way more advanced than us.
Yeah.
Right. Is it off-world aliens? Maybe, but what would you do with our planet? Like what resource? Like what would you do?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like if you needed something, like if America, if Earth was a gas station like Dune or like Lou Elizondo's book about it being like a water station, cool. Go have your water. Let us do our thing, bro.
Right.
Because like we just want to survive. Just go take your resource, bro. When you are going through the jungle of the Amazon, you don't kill every Amazonian. You just go after what you need. Like, oh, we need like plastic plants. You know, you know, plastic. You know, not plastic. Rubber trees. They're like, we need rubber trees
specifically for
right. You don't kill everyone there and take your rubber tree. You let them live, and you take your rubber tree. Oh, we need cobalt from Cobalt Red. Do they go in and kill all the villagers? No, they're just like, okay, we're just going to go take our cobalt. So if there was another alien species taking resources from us, they just leave us alone and take the thing. Or allegedly, we have a space pact with. Now I don't even know if that's true because I'm like, wait, it could just be as simple as they're protecting us, bro. But like, if they do have a space pact with like an ancient civilization, okay, cool. The pact is we do our thing, you do your thing. Right? Makes sense. The only logical thing, like all those threats are gone. Okay, it's the 1%ers trying to like keep themselves in power. Okay, but by keeping yourself in power, you give us all of the comforts that we want. It's like, oh, but then like, why don't they just release infinite energy, 0 point energy through us world? Because then you'd obliterate oil and gas. Right. And then Stephen Greer was saying they will do it because cat's out of the bag, but they're trying to patent it before then. And we saw with the TR-3B, it's already started, bro. You've already patented the anti-grav. But at the end of the day, you're not trying to rule us. You're not trying to like, you want us to spend money, bro.
Yeah.
That's how you stay in power.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's the system that we have created. That's the economy that flourishes.
Right. So it's literally Elysium, and we won the lottery by living in North America. Maybe in the future they'll make like a pact because I hear Asia's on the rise, but then now I hear like they're not because like there's some like economic issue, whatever.
But like no, you can make allies. Like you have allies with Japan. We have allies with India or other Asian countries, right? That's
Oh, this is what I was going to say. So it's not just New Jersey; they're seeing them in the UK as well.
Right. Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah.
Right. And you're like, oh, dude, they're going to take over. No, bro. UK, we're showing that our ally also has the same weapons we do. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no, like, because then people are like, oh, I see them in China. But it's like, maybe those are yours. And these are ours. Now we're going to battle. Because one thing that ChatGPT, remember the Charlemagne the God thing?
Yep.
And he was saying that there's going to be a galactic war of aliens that takes place. And it's like, we're going to watch it play out over our skies, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe it's not a galactic war. Maybe it's the new tech. Maybe Russia and China will be literally waging war. Russia, China, and America will literally be waging war above our heads. Because that's where the battlefield is. It's in space now. It's not on Earth.
Right.
Like they're going to send their UFOs. We're going to send our UFOs. And then that's the thing that the computer algorithm saw. Because it predicted that we're going to see a bunch of UFOs come out, right? So
yeah.
That's what the algorithm did. And then the algorithm also said that there'll be a war that we'll watch in the sky. But like maybe it's just the battle that, you know what I mean? Like maybe it is literally just like, remember the dome? You know, like the Iron Dome?
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah. So like as missiles come, then like the other missile hits it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what we'll be seeing. We'll just see all these UFOs protecting other UFOs.
Yeah.
Protecting us against other UFOs. Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll see Gundams. Like, okay, so we figured it out. Now the question is 2025 going to be downhill? And I don't think so, bro. I think at the end of this, we're going to get some crazy technology. I've been saying it because, like, I think we're going to enter the cyberpunk future. Cats out of the bag. You have 0-point energy. Okay, how much will you allow us to use for that 0-point energy? Because you know what Stephen Greer was saying? That this science is not new. There are people that are creating, it's called, what do you call it? It's called black shelf. You're black shelving it. So a scientist will create a thing, and then the government will come in and then buy that thing off you and then put it on the shelf.
Right.
Did they put it on the shelf, or are they using it for their own military purposes? So what I think is, like, at the end of this, once you get it in your minds that this is possible, people, like regular civilians, are going to try and create their own stuff. And I think that we're going to have a different commercial industry. And I think that's how we're going to solve climate change. Right?
Like, yeah.
Because that's another thing. It's like, okay, sure, there's economics involved and we don't want the economics. But like, if climate change is going to destroy us, well, that's going to ruin the system too.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'd have to focus on that too. And maybe these new energy technologies is that direction.
Yes. And the only problem with this whole thing is people are going to get sued. Oh, dude. You remember how Lou Elizondo was on Grey Fox?
Oh, yeah.
He was a part of Grey Fox. I remember I was like, oh, Grey Fox's job is to like infiltrate the field, to prepare it for war and then whatever. And then Stephen Greer's like, no, Lou Elizondo is a disinformation agent, whatever. And then if you listen to Lou Elizondo, he's like, I'm a patriot. I believe that America should survive. Maybe he really is working with this program. And maybe he, like, maybe he is prepping it so that because one thing that he said was the only issue that comes out of this is that people will be sued. And what he's been saying is we need a truth and reconciliation. We need a moment where people are like, hey, yes, we understand that you did this in the past. I'm sure you had your important reasons, but going forward, you won't be sued. Just tell us what you know. And I'm like, oh, you're kind of getting them off the hook. But by pushing that narrative, we're all like, yeah, I agree with Lou. So like maybe he is, you know, he's prepping our psychology. Because people are going to be pissed, bro. Like imagine the people in the green energy. They're like, wait, you had 0-point energy this whole time. I was freaking focusing on solar. So stupid. You know, like Elon Musk, I was doing rockets, bro. But you have reverse engineered like gravity. Like so many people would be pissed, and that's what Lou was saying. And he's like, we gotta accept it. We shouldn't sue them. We just gotta, like, that was the past. Let's move forward.
Right.
So maybe that's how we keep the stabilization. And like, if we're all on board, we're like, hey, truth and reconciliation. Admit what you know. All right, cool. We have anti-grav. Elon Musk will be pissed, but it's like, hey, we can't sue him. Truth and reconciliation. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That makes sense too.
Sure.
Because that's the only other issue. Like green energy is gonna be pissed at you, right?
Yeah, if it there's a word like
if it's clean.
If it's clean and there was no need to even spend money on windmills.
And that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying, bro.
The technology would just become obsolete. All that stuff.
Exactly. That's exactly what Lou was saying. Lou is admitting to it. He's like, it will be obsolete. And that's why they'll sue, because of the SEC laws. Like, because we're putting our money into this. Like, people are going to lose money, right? But they have to do it in a slow way, or else we're going to crumble. And that's what one military general I saw, he was like, if you release this too quickly, it'll be like the Bronze Age. Because, like, you're going to, like, destabilize the stock market.
Yeah.
Because we were like, I'm going to pull out my money now. I'm going to put it here. But it's like, oh, dog, I needed your money. Apple needed your money. You know, so we have to slowly introduce it to the public. Which is why I think we are going to enter the freaking cyberpunk future world, bro. I really think so.
Right. Yeah.
Do you agree? Yeah, you see it too, right?
Yeah, if that's what they have, yeah. As in, like, the
not even energy. If, bro. We see it. This is, like, if you get Lou Elizondo's book, he broke down how they work. That's why I was mind blown from I'm like, dog, you explained everything in this book. You explained why they're translucent. You explained, like, why it's a sphere. You literally explained every single thing.
Right.
But was that a way, and it became the bestseller, is that a way for the American people to accept? And Lou is the ultimate patriot because he is living his knock life, non-official cover. He is the ultimate. He was in Gray Fox, bro. They brought him into the room. They're like, you want the ultimate project? You want the ultimate Gray Fox project? Sign me up. I believe in America. Okay, cool. We're going to use you as the mouthpiece to make the American people accept this so that Americans stay on top. Yes, sir, I will. And then Stephen Greer's like, he's a disinformation agent, blah, 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 blah. He is. But Stephen, you drank too much of that Kool-Aid, bro. We're just trying to protect America. That's it. Because Stephen Greer's like, George Bush knows about it. Bill Clinton knows about it. All these presidents, Donald Trump, they've read about it, right? And then why is he being silenced by every UFO? Remember, we're like, why?
Yeah, right.
Because you're the dude giving away. It's like, that's too much information, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, dog, you're ruining the plan.
Yeah, you're giving too much information away.
Yeah, right.
To the wrong people.
Like, I'm an arbiter of truth, and it's like, you are, but that's gonna get us in trouble, bro. Lou, go do your thing. He's like, yes, sir. Right? Like, right. Lou, if you listen to Lou's interviews, he's like, I am the ultimate patriot. You're like, what does that mean, bro?
True. Right.
Lou openly said, I will lie for my country. Like, I will do anything for my country. I'm like, okay. It's all fitting together now. and sorry, last thing. I know we're like, how long has it been?
1 hour 30.
Jeez. But this is the best podcast because we figured it out, bro. All right. So Tom DeLonge, how does Tom DeLonge fit in this? So Tom DeLonge, he believed in aliens. That's why the UFO tattoo, bro. I love Tom DeLonge. And why did Tom DeLonge step away? So check this out. So they brought Tom DeLonge in because, okay, so Tom DeLonge was learning from Stephen Greer.
Okay? You're right.
But then he had a breakup. And then he never admits that he learned from Stephen Greer. Stephen Greer's like, yeah, Tom DeLonge stayed in my house, whatever. But then he's like, but then Tom DeLonge got co-opted by this intelligent agent, Lou Elizondo. Right? But then if you listen to the interviews, Joe Rogan said to Tom DeLonge, like, why did they choose a rock star to, like, bring them into UFOs? And Tom DeLonge's like, because I provided a service. Tom DeLonge's telling us all what's happening. He's like, I provided a service. What's the service? I can get people comfortable with the idea of UFOs. He's like, what? Well, how are you supposed to do that? Movies and television. He just signed a movie deal. He signed a TV deal.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
With Legendary Pictures. Tom DeLonge said, we're all going to learn the truth about UFOs through movies and TV that I'm going to create. He's doing his job. And then he's working with Lou Elizondo. So they probably both know that we just want America to stay on top. Our job is to make the American people not freak out about these new weapons. And I think that's why Tom DeLonge stepped away. And like why Stephen Greer's pissed at him, because like, oh, you've fallen into the trap. And then Tom DeLonge's probably like, no, dog, you just drank too much of that Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? Like, you're too freedom fighter, bro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
It could be, yeah.
It's the only thing that makes sense. And then Tom DeLonge's like, all right, it's out of my hands now. I'm going back on tour with Blink-182. I did my job. I'm going to keep making these movies. You guys battle for disclosure. Disclosure's like, it's here.
Mm-hmm.
It all makes sense. At the end of the day, they just want to keep freedom and liberty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you're listening to this, tell us that we're wrong. This is the only thing that makes sense, bro. Logically, it's the only thing that makes sense. What do you think we should title this thing? The truth about UFO, like the freedom and liberty for UFOs. Or like, yeah. UFOs are an economic source of protection. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
What's really going on with the New Jersey UFOs?
Right, New Jersey UFOs.
Maybe that'll, yeah, because people are Googling New Jersey. Because, like, I think this information needs to get out, because if we all heard this, I'm okay with that. Bro, I love this podcast. I love this chair, bro. Yeah, grocery prices are pretty expensive, but, you know, I wouldn't want to be holding a dead person in my arms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, you love the freedom? All right, let us play around with UFOs. Cool story, bro. I'm just gonna chill over here.
Yeah.
Sorry, last thing. American Alchemy has been answering all of these things as well. He's been giving out all the truths. He's very close with Stephen Greer. Oh, sorry, not Stephen Greer. He's very close with Lou Elizondo. Very close with forget what's the name? David Grush, the first whistleblower. Okay.
Yeah.
But he hasn't had Stephen Greer on, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He's had Stephen Greer's lawyer on. Anyways,
okay.
So one thing that the American Alchemy guy said, he said that if I just want to know the truth, but I don't want to out something that will jeopardize American freedoms.
Who said that?
American Alchemy. He's just a YouTuber.
Okay.
He's super rich. You know the Stutz with Netflix?
No.
Jonah Hill. It's about his like therapist.
Okay. I think
you vaguely remember, right?
Yeah.
So that's his grandfather. So his dad and his grandfather are like psychologists, made a lot of money. He made a lot of money. He worked with like all these investors. So he doesn't need to work. So what he does is he like studies UFOs.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been like, you're just rich, bro. You just do whatever you want, bro. So like he's just trying to put out the truth about UFOs, but he hasn't had Stephen Greer on. I'm like, that's kind of weird, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But he's had Lou and he's had David Grush on, and maybe he's just doing the same thing that Tom DeLonge's doing. I'm watching these videos, and I'm piecing it together. Like he's telling us that no, the Nazis took Antigrav, and like that's where I like all this information. I'm like. How I know so much, aside from reading books, is like he has amazing documentaries on UFOs.
Okay.
So like, I think maybe he's a patriot too, because he even said like, I wouldn't want to jeopardize our freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say anything that's like wrong, I will not tell the people. And I'm like, oh, that's what probably Tom did too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, but then, all right. So let me ask you this question. So you have Stephen Greer being like, no, what they're doing is bad. Like drug trafficking, human trafficking, oil oligarchs, keeping people in poverty. Totally, bro. That or other countries take over? What do you want? What would you do? Would you be for just?
I think we would want this current stable system that we're in order for that to continue.
Totally. And I think that's what you have to respect the Tao. The yin yang symbol, bro.
Mm-hmm.
In every good, there's a little bad. In every bad, there's a little good. So, like, I think Stephen Greer wants pure good. For sure, bro. I believe it. But technically, you wouldn't be making this documentary without a stable government.
Mm-hmm.
So do you, like, you know, don't bite the hand that feeds, bro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think you're just biting the hand that feeds.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why he's persona non grata, because they're all just like, this guy is kind of messing up our flow, bro. You don't even realize.
But it's interesting that it's on both sides. It's interesting that they've both sides. People that are UFO believers have shunned Stephen Greer. And like no one in militaries or like the other guys who said Tom DeLonge or other things talking about Stephen Greer. Like, but he's
everyone's just like, well, no, Stephen Greer has his followers. There's a lot of like
there's followers, but I mean, like, there's a lot of like just like UFO followers and stuff like that. There, even within them, there's groups that are saying like,
don't like him,
don't believe him or whatever. He's disinformation.
But I don't think he's disinformation. I just think he's coming at it from the wrong side. It's like you're biting the hand that feeds, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's like working for a company that you don't like, but spending the money, the salary.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, I really hate working for the bank, but they're paying you $200,000 and you go on a vacation every single year to like, wherever, and you have all these fancy cars. Please don't tell me how you hate that company because you're spending that company's money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it's like, but that's kind of the problem with like overly spiritual people. Like you have to see the good and bad in everything, bro. Like be practical. You know?
Yeah.
And I think you're being too like kumbaya about it, bro.
Yeah, I think maybe that's
everyone. We should have a utopia on Earth. True, we should. You're right. Tell that to China, right?
That's not the reality. Yeah, that we're living in.
All right, last thing, because I know we're like so long. Remember that boxing story I said?
Yeah.
Like the Shark Tank, and I was like, oh, dog, like this, what are we doing? You're just beating this person up, you know? It's like, you're right, Stephen Greer. You're right. Or like Mexico, right? You're right, Stephen Greer. We should have a utopia. Go tell that to the Mexican that stole my $20 American and swapped it with $1. Go tell that to the Shark Tank people.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I get what you're saying. And I've been down that path too. I've hung out with like people who just want kumbaya. And the reason why I'm not in a dead end situation like them is because I understand that Taoism is the only real truth. It's just good and bad, bro. But both sides have something, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Like,
that's true. Yeah.
Right, bro, is like, he's not, maybe like, now we figured out Stephen Greer too. Yeah. He has a lot, like, his stuff is gold. I'm watching him like, oh my God, that's so true. But then it's like, but you're painting such a negative picture. But if you look at it from the point of view,
yeah.
You know, just protection, bro. We just want to keep America on top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So maybe we are a warring species because altruism will never win, bro.
No.
Because Stephen Greer is the altruistic, and it's like, ooh, tell that to Russia and China. Tell that to Mexico. You know what I mean? No, not that Mexicans are bad. I'm just saying it's like when you travel more, you see, you're like, oh, not everyone's in the same situation, bro.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe he just needs to travel more. Oh my God, no. Wait, hold on. Sorry, last thing. No, that is it. No, he just needs to travel. That's 1,000%. And he listens to this. He's like, I have traveled. No. Lou Elizondo was on a battlefield, bro. He was the first one to go. He was Gray Fox. He went into Afghanistan to set the battlefield. You know what? You know how much carnage he saw? He's like, oh, there's evil in this world.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that, Stephen Greer? No? Then let me protect your freedoms. Right? It's cute that you want to see this, Stephen Greer. Like, it's cute that you have this thing, but at the same time, you're only having this thing because I'm keeping the peace.
Yeah.
Right? And Tom DeLonge, why Tom DeLonge get bought in? Because his brother is in the army. They did tours in Iraq. He saw the craziness. He's like, no, we need to keep. If I saw that too, if I saw like dead people and stuff, and I'm like, no, we are keeping America. Remember when we came back from Mexico? I'm like, that's why you have laws, bro. Like, you gotta keep the money. Like, you know what I mean?
It's it's things work for the normal people. Like, there's no like craziness, scamming or like that happening in front of our faces. Yeah.
Yeah. People who don't know, like, go back to the last podcast, I'll just tell you, I was trying to pay with $20 American for gas, and then he swapped it out with $1. He's like, hey, you only give me $1. I'm like, dog, I swear to you, I gave you $20. That wouldn't happen in America.
No.
Or Canada.
Yeah.
But that'll happen in a third world country.
Yeah.
And it's not even localized to that country. People are like, oh, it's just there. It's like, no, I've seen this in third world. You travel to a third world country, bro. You'll see it. Yeah. All right, keep the peace. Figure it out. No war of aliens. There's no way they're going to create a one world government because nobody will agree anyways.
Yeah.
It literally just comes down to we have the biggest stick. Look at our UFOs. Unless in 2025 we start seeing like the UFOs start to attack our cities, but then I would think that's crazy. I mean, if that happens, that's crazy. Okay, just Google Project Bluebeam, everyone.
Right.
They're just trying to like,
they're
just trying to go down, you know, but you and I both agree that like, if you blew up a city, goodbye economics.
Yeah. Exactly.
And yeah. And these are owned by Americans. So no way, there's no way they're going to, do that. And are they evil? Depends on the side you're looking at.
Of course. Yes, of course.
It's like, sure, we did some bad things, but you like your comfort, right? Yes. All right. Please be quiet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't bite the hand that feeds. Yeah, that's it. All right. Till next time. Damn, that was but it makes sense. All thanks to you, bro. Yesterday when you said, I was like, boom. everything just fit.
Right. It's just American weapons.
That's all it is, guys. Chill out. It is what it is. Because you're right. They know it is. It's not a foreign adversary. Or it's not.
It's not a threat. It's not a threat, nor is it a foreign adversary.
And
how can you say those two things?
Yeah, exactly. If you don't know what it is. Do you know what it is? You just don't want to admit what it is. And they're also over American bases, bro. You're like, oh my God, you have UFOs over your base. They're trying to shut us down. Like, because there's a story of like, oh, the UFOs are just stopping us. They're like the parent stopping the child from like hurting itself. It's like, no, dog. We're just like letting them fly above our bases because there are weapons. And then the people at the lowest level, like Ryan Graves and like Commander David Fravor, like, I chase the Tic Tac. I see them all the time. It's like, yeah, because we don't tell a coordinator what a director's doing. That's what a director's job, bro.
Yeah.
I don't need to tell you. Just shut up and fly.
Need to know.
Yeah. Need to know. Exactly. And like, it makes sense, the need to know, because it's like, they're all like, I reported to my commander and it went nowhere. Because the commander's like, dog, you don't need to know this.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to create a podcast. I'm going to go on blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell everyone. And they're like, dude, you're messing up the plan, bro. Like, we're just trying to keep these weapons secret. It's like you going out and being like, they're creating the atomic bomb. Everyone, their team. You know, you're like, dog, what are you doing?
Why are you telling our enemies this?
Yeah, that's what the higher ups are thinking. They're like, oh, this dummy, bro. You don't think I pledged allegiance to the flag too? Like, come on, man.
Right.
Yeah. One would even argue that their allegiance is higher because they're not even telling you. Like, they're actually keeping it a secret. Whereas you're like out here telling the whole world, we got a nuclear bomb that we're working on.
Right.
Like, don't tell anyone. What are you guys doing? Anyways, all right. Till next week. Crack the code. Yeah. Any last things?
No.
No, that was a full one, and that is the honest truth about what's going on. Yeah. All right. Till next week. Take it easy, Fish.
Peace.
Bye. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Fish.
Peace.